Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, welcome. And again, if you identify as recently unclassified national security secrets, or if you identify as a drawing with pubic hair signature, wherever you stand, whatever you do, um, welcome, welcome. It is
Welcome, everybody.
It is wet, it is wild, and it is Wednesday. And we are spending the next hour or so together, Ray, to help folks that have deep-seated psychotic hatreds of grass, also questions, which one may inform the next, or vice versa. I don't know until we read through this mailbag, which we do have a rather extensive mailbag. We will take questions here on the chat, so if you have something, fire that in there. J Pink will get that plugged into the ether and send it through there to us, maybe on the computer. I don't know. It could just be a note that says, do you love
I'm
grass?
just
Circle
gonna
Y or N.
I'm just gonna put the ether on a rag and sneak up behind you.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that's right. What was that? What
Oh
was that movie?
no.
I think it was Hall Pass, right? And Jason Sudeikis, and he's like, "Does this smell like chloroform to you?" God, it's a great one-liner. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Ray, how are you? Before we get into too much of it, how are you?
Hanging in there. Hanging in there,
Oh,
Matt. Right.
I felt that all the way into my fucking bones, Ray. Thank you. I feel seen. Yes, hanging in there is correct. It is the dog days.
But then, of
Um,
course, we're on the opposite spectrums of hanging in there. All
why
right.
is that?
Opposite.
How's that?
You have a good problem. So much to
I
do.
Yeah. I it is a good problem. I can't complain. I'm not ungrateful. I'm not an idiot. It just you know, feels like a constant battle of figuring out who we're going to let down and who we're going to make happy on a daily basis. But, we'll figure it out. Okay.
It's a juggling act. Yeah.
It really is, and I'm neither athletic nor a circus performer, and so it's a struggle for me most days. All right, let's see here. Terrence. I think Terrence has I think Terry Tate, office linebacker, has uh, reached out before, I believe. I remember the name. Gentlemen, renovating this fall with a 90-10 turf type tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass blend. I'm planning on going for 10 pounds per thousand on the TTTF and 3 pounds on the bluegrass. Can you please help me with the math? For 1,000, how many pounds of each? Well, I think you just answered your own question, Terry.
I think he
Oh,
did
and
his
J
own
Pink
math
even said,
already. Did
I mean, J Pink in his wise estimation, far smarter than I'll ever be, said as a comment, I mean, didn't he do the math? Question mark.
Yeah.
So Terry, so here's what I'm gonna say on this specific topic. Well, several things. One, that is the high bare ground seating rate for both of those. Um, what you might find is that if you go with the high rate on both, you may not get the species dynamics that you're looking for. It sounds counterintuitive, and there are attritional losses, with seeding and things like that. But um, I'd back off just a little bit on both of those. I'd go down closer to 8 pounds on the tall fescue. I'd go down closer to 2 pounds on the bluegrass and run with that. I also think too that if you're going to split these up and do these as two separate seedings, that the manner in which you do them and the sequence in which you do them is really critical. And the reason I say that is that tall fescue is a lot like ryegrass. Like, you could plant it directly on concrete, and as long as you can keep it watered, it would pop and germinate. Bluegrass, not so much. Bluegrass, it can be planted too shallow. At the surface, it's really not going to do anything. It can definitely be planted too deep. Quarter inch or more, and you're definitely going to see attritional losses because stuff is just not going to come up. So getting that in there at an appropriate depth would be really, really crucial. So what my recommendation would be is put your turf type tall fescue down first, If you don't have the means to slice seed or put this bluegrass in really nice and neat, then just make some nice little light furrows with a leaf rake. What is that, Ray? The Groundskeeper 2 from Midwest Rake, that one's that's
Yes,
got the real
yes,
skinny
Ryan.
tine. Yes, that
The
is a
skinny wire
good,
tines. Yeah, that is an
yes, good
excellent
one to
tool,
have around.
man. Yeah.
It is. That bitch, you can flip that over. One of my favorite things to do is flip it over, and you can scoop up the leaves with that if you're raking leaves up with it. But it's a great thatching rake. But it's excellent for seeding because those tines are so small and they're spring loaded, so you can kind of place a little bit of pressure on them if you need. If you got some harder packed soil, or if you're at the right soil moisture, you can just kind of drag them over the surface, leave some nice little eighth to quarter inch indentations. Put your seed down, roll it in, and you should be pretty good. But again, those are some tips and tricks and things to think about, and make sure that you get that seed in the right sequence, get it in at the right rate, and hopefully you'll get a good catch. And you are mathing. You're doing good, Terrence. Give yourself some credit. I've said it before here on the program, Ray. I was always gooder in English, than the math.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Mhm.
Terrence. Jeremy didn't speak in class again, but he did say, I am attempting to spray my way out of centipede grass, contamination, and zoysia. Ray, I'm already getting the heebie jeebies. Um, I have
Mhm.
mostly followed Ray's advice by real cutting low, upping my pH, and using phosphorus. Okay. Cultural practices alone are helping, but it has not been a solo solution. I'm saying I think he's saying so we're both there. Can you please critique my approach so far and advise the rest of my growing season as to what to do in 2026? So far this year, I've made 2 blanket apps of quinclorac at the label rate of 1.45 ounces, fluid ounces per 1,000 square feet, and 3/4 an ounce of MSO per gallon. Last week, I did Trimax Southern at 1.1 and a half ounce of MSO. Centipede is holding on pretty well in spots. The last quinclorac app was a little over a month ago. It still persists in the soil, doesn't it? Will it do? Can you do its work, or is it done? The Trimec app got some response, but not like the quinclorac. I've met my annual max with the Q and half my annual on the Trimec. I know at least one of the off-label options, but I prefer to keep things legit. Not that you would recommend anything off-label, but just saying. Thanks for your time. Look forward to what you have to say, and thank you all for what you do. Jeremy, thank you too. Ray, I am completely out of my element. I am like Donnie in The Big Lebowski, so I'm just going to shut the fuck up.
Okay. Here's another
He's in
direction
Wilmington, North
Jeremy
Carolina.
can. Okay,
Wilmington, North
here's another
Carolina, by the way.
direction that Jeremy can go next year because you're almost at the point where I don't suggest doing anything drastic with the turf grass, but maybe you have an opportunity in the early fall. But another tactic or option is consider Fusilade plus triclopyr as a selective grass killer in zoysia. And that is
No,
tried, true, and proven.
I mean, isn't and that's a typical approach more so like I guess I never thought about it for centipede, but taking Bermuda out obviously, but out of zoysia, but
It'll
huh?
okay. You say Fusilade and centipede is dead. Say
Really?
Fusilade and centipede. Yeah, it is very sensitive,
Hmm.
extremely sensitive.
And any issues, phyto or anything else to think about
That
with
that is why
the
you
zoysia?
tank mix with triclopyr. That's why you tank mix with the triclopyr because triclopyr
Uh,
mitigates some of the phytotoxicity that would otherwise be showing in your zoysia. Other option is you add that new product that came out a couple of years ago called Recognition to your
okay.
Fusilade and Triclopyr app. And
And
the Recognition
remind me on that one.
allows you to, the Recognition does something in that it totally safens the Fusilade on the zoysia and allows the zoysia to tolerate an 8 to 12 fluid ounce per acre application of Fusilade. where without recognition, you are capped at 4 to 5 ounces per acre, unless you want the zoysia to die too.
Hmm. Well, and I think that's the thing is that at least Jeremy understands that this is a years long effort and that I guess is there any let me ask this question, okay? Let's say that Jeremy gets over the hump, he's able to push this out and eradicate it and stay the course on above board options, right? Because it sounds like from a cultural perspective, he's doing all the right things.
Yes, he's
Again,
doing
not
everything
the
right.
expert here, but
He's doing
okay. So
everything
then,
right. I mean, it's just that response to quinclorac and Trimex Southern is very partial and gradual. But the thing is that this is not a sprint. This is a marathon.
so
And
on
other,
that topic,
other
what was he asked that question too, real quick? Hit on that if you can, real quick. Is the Chloride and its activity on? Is there continued activity in the soil on centipede? I think he was a couple
yes,
weeks out or something like that. Okay, for how long?
yes. It's not done yet. The quinclorac is going to remain in the soil for at least 30 to 45 days. It's going to keep on going. We're not done yet. You just because you apply quinclorac, don't think that it's disappeared. Because Ryan, remember now,
Yeah.
how long does quinclorac typically keep crabgrass at bay when you apply it during seeding?
Oh, I mean, you'll
Quite
get
a
at, at least
couple
at
months.
least 4 weeks, and yeah, and probably closer to 8. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, 4 at the very minimum if you're in a high pressure situation. But it's a very effective, pre-emergent. But it's also, again, we've talked about it in the cool season world. Um, I guess I'm learning more. I knew that you could apply it against centipede and do that, but surprised about the continued soil activity there that would be such a big thing on centipede too. But it all kind of makes sense. The other
Yeah.
question I had to follow up on what you just alluded to there for Jeremy is that, hey, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Let's say he really beats this stuff back and gets to a point
Hmm.
where it's extremely minimal. What would a ongoing management strategy look like? Is it the same type of program? Are you going spot spray? Are you still going blanket? Like, what is the overall management strategy outside of the cultural practices? Are you still using herbicides in the main part of the growing season to keep this stuff at bay and never let it get a foothold?
I think over time, if you continue the cultural practices, you should maintain the upper hand over centipede grass. And the other factor that I harp on is centipede simply does not exist in high phosphorus and high pH soil. It just doesn't make it. All right? It just don't make it.
There you go.
And so you continue to, and the other thing that I can tell you is that I would consider liberalizing my nitrogen apps on
Oh,
this lawn,
even on the zoysia. So, what is that
even on
in your
zoysia.
world? Well, I was going to say, if you're in Wilmington,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, I'm assuming this is going to be an older variety like Z52 or something like that. Like, what would be your total annual input on in a situation like this, knowing that you're trying to beat back the centipede?
Probably up to 2 pounds of N per thousand per
Wow,
year.
throw her
Yeah.
down, as the kids say, right?
But then 2 pounds per thousand is about in line with many of the recommendations that I've seen on Zoysia. And I
Got it.
know that
Okay.
I manage on 1 pound or less per year.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like it would seem to me if there's a downshift in the strategy or approach, or if it's hey, you got to go balls to the wall. And it sounds like what you're saying is that this is very much as much predicated, with maybe not more, on the cultural practice side and some of the inputs and things like that, as opposed to just being a strictly herbicide only strategy. And so, Jeremy, lots and lots of good nuggets in there. And you know what? My my favorite part of this show is I come on here and I learn some shit because, unlike Ron Henry, I don't know it all. Sorry, I don't. Man, there was a good gypsum short that was algorithm to me that I need to send Dr. Shaddix because it's just going to tingle his spine, and not in a good way, you know, not like
Oh my.
when Ray gets Sheila in the sack after a day of treating lawns and he makes her make gang signs with her toes, like that kind of spine tingling. You know what I mean? All right. Let's keep going here. Oh, my boy David Wrath, as he's well known, on the chords. And David, he says, David from Columbus, Ohio writes, my entire home lawn is Mazama Kentucky bluegrass maintained at 1.25 inches with irrigation. I plan to cut lower in the future. Mazama is great, but I love the adventure of testing for better cultivars. My top priority is lawn aesthetics, rich, stark color, uniformity, and density. This spring, I started 6 10 by 10 test plots of After Midnight, Blue Bank, Blue Gem, Cloud, Midnight, and Star. Would like to add more KGB or KBG cultivars to evaluate over the next few years. Currently considering Award, Bewitched, Everest, and Prosperity. Are there any additional KBG cultivars you could recommend? Also appreciating your cultivars and tendering cultivars I'm testing and considering. Thank you. Okay, man, David, a lot. I still would love to get over and see your yard at some point. There's Chad, who's Mapani. He's in our Discord too. He's like 5 minutes down the road. I've never been by his place. I need to at some point because he's got a pretty kick-ass lawn too. So you know, if you look at strictly NTEPs, and again, I've not really dove in too deep as of late on this. I need to, and there's a really cool tool that's out there right now that I'll talk about here in a second. But few things here. It'd be number one. I think the ones that you have there are easy to come by. You can get them from United Seeds, Twin Cities, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the really dank shit, as the kids say, is hard to come by as single cultivars. There are some really good ones out there from like Mountain View. There's a couple good ones out there from Landmark Turf and Native Seed. There's a couple good ones out there from Barenbrug that are top notch cultivars, but you can't buy them as single cultivars. So if we're left to our devices of what would be considered like retail, right? Even high end retail, like what you have here, I think you've got a lot of the top performers already. I don't think that you're shorting yourself in any way. Award and Bewitched, some of these are old, not old, but slightly older Jacqueline varieties that have gone over to Barenbrug. So I'll give you a list. The other thing I was going to say too is that so there's the NTEP tool from University of Minnesota that we've linked on here before. I just searched for University of Minnesota turfgrass and NTEP, and there's a really cool, basically just a different way to access all the data tables in a much more intuitive way. So take a look and go through that. And then finally, I don't know if you can access it directly or if it's got to go through, you have to go through their seed salesman, but Bruce Jump, Mr. Bruce Jump, is a sales rep for a company called Heritage. They sell seed, fertilizer, all that kind of stuff. And what he's done is take a whole bunch of NTEP data along with some privately agglomerated data that he gets from different seed vendors and things like that, plus TPI, which is Turfgrass Producers International, which has their whole own rating system that they use. Those are the sod producers, and they're looking at different characteristics just the same as they are at NTEP, right? And so what they have is this tool that'll kind of spit out and say, okay, hey, based on color, based on density, not just taking in one form factor of a data set for what NTEP says on uniformity. You're getting it from a variety of sources in different locations and things like that. So not too dissimilar, but a bigger and better data set. And they are able to, recommend some of those ones as well. As far as a monostand, if you are looking for uniformity and you are looking for density and color and things like that, a monostand is probably your best bet. However, it's also one of those things, Ray, and you will understand this because I'm speaking to a person that deals almost exclusively, if not wholly, in vegetatively propagated single cultivar stands of grass, right? And so, if you could imagine, Ray, you have lots of problems in warm season with weeds and certain diseases, right? We have problems here with diseases and certain weeds, right? So it's a little bit different, but a lot of the same thing in terms of trying to deal with these pests. And so one of the things that we see here, especially in cool season, because of specifically the disease risk profiles that we have, and specifically on Kentucky bluegrass, which you might run into, things like summer patch, things like leaf spot, and some other things, right? So, like, if you are in a situation where you have a monostand, like, big problems could be very well magnified, right? And there's not a whole lot of places to hide in that. And that's where, some of the blends have tried to correct for that, to balance out color, maybe muting some of the darker colors with lighter to blend everything together and make it look happy and rosy and everything like that. From a density standpoint, you're always giving something up when you're taking on different attributes and different characteristics that these plants express. So, all that to say, your 10 by 10 test plots, I think you're good, Wrath. I think any of those other ones would be fine. Specifically, Bewitched, I think is a good cultivar to throw in there. It's going to be hard to find right now, but if you can find it, go ahead and get your hands on it. But those other ones are, I would say they're good, but they're not, anything that I'm going to write home about necessarily. And no dig on them, but there's just, there's other ones out there that I like. You just can't really get your hands on. All right. Oh man, and look at that. J Pink commented, David wrote his own intro. So Dave Rath wrote this for us as if it was like on the teleprompter. He started off with his own line. David from Columbus, Ohio writes, like Dave at one point like wrote into 60 Minutes or Reader's Digest or some point. All right, let's see here. Oh, my man Zach, dude, I absolutely need to call Zach. Like, I'm serious, Zach. Like, I I love you. I'm not ignoring you. Like, it's literally dick to ass every single minute of every day is work or kids or wife. That's pretty much it. So that time of year. Zach says, can you give me your opinion on the attached spec for the sand? Planning on using at least 2 inches to native soil for my properties. I'm renovating. Okay. Tell him even though I'm busy as shit, I tell him I suck for not responding. I love you, Zach. I'll buy you a beer or something in Louisville. Make it up to you. Maybe 5. All right, I'm pulling up the sheet. And is this on the camera? Can we see this? Oh, we can't see this here. Okay. So he wants to use this as a 2-inch sand cap. What are we at? We're at 93%. We're under 5. We're under 3. A little bit of gravel. So the top end's a little bit big, but it's not too bad. He's good on this coefficient of uniformity. Angular to medium viscosity. Toe process. Grass. So, I mean, realistically here, couple things, Zach. I mean, this should test out as a USGA sand. Everything is in spec. The gravel's a little high, though, I think. So it may not test as exactly USGA spec. I think that the gravel needs to be less than 2 or 1.5, something like that. So it's gonna pack a little bit because you get that silt and clay in there, but not too bad. 93.5%. That's fine. The biggest thing to look for here is that your angularity and sphericity is good. You don't want to have really angular sand that packs in way too tight, and you won't have any percolation, down through that soil. So let's see. They did not do any physical properties other than that. So, the other thing too, a good marker to look for, at least to start, be your coarse, so your number 35 and your number 60 sieves right there. So your coarse sand at 1 to a half a millimeter, and then your medium sand at half to a quarter millimeter. Those two things, if they add up to greater than 60%, and you don't want them to be too much because we'll talk about why in a minute. But if those add up to greater than 60%, usually you're going to be in good shape. You don't want to really go above like about 70 to 75, because part of this is that if you have too not or too narrowly graded of a sand, as they say, Ray, is that the stuff will never set up. You need some distribution of particle sizes across all these sieves, right? Kind of think of it like lumber, right? That's how I always used to use this as a teaching tool, right? So, like when you build a house, you don't build it all out of 2x2s. You don't build it all out of 4x4s, right? You have a mixture of lumber that serves different purposes structurally, right, within the house to be able to do this. So, take that for what it's worth, Zach. And the other thing too is this CU that's over here, where they're measuring the D15, or the 15th percentile against the 85th percentile of particle sizes right here on the right hand side. And they look up and they divide those out and come up with a coefficient of uniformity, right? So if the sand's too uniform, the higher the number, again, that's where it won't set up. If it's too widely spread, it's going to pack in real tight, because you're going to have all sorts of different sizes and be able to jam those in there real tight. That's a very, very reductive way of explaining it, but that's generally a good way of thinking about it. Okay. I think that's it. I'm a piece of shit. I owe you probably like a whole bottle of whiskey when we get to Louisville, but I do want to sit down and talk, and talk about more than just grass and everything like that. There's some other things I want to ask you. So I love you. I hope you're doing well. If I get time and I'm cool to call you in a weekend, I'll try and call you in a weekend, because those are usually a little bit more chill times. I'm able to disconnect a little bit. So, Ray, anything to add on this sand as a 2-inch cap? I think it's going to work out pretty well for him.
The distribution of
Where's Ray?
particles and the fact that it's not too fine, I thought that it would work well. I just, and in fact, I specifically asked Zach to contact you about this matter and ask your opinion, because you see, you also teach me a lot of things as well, Ryan. You just know that.
Just say it, Ray. You're a fucking nerd. I get it. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't use that word, because
I did. It's okay.
that is derogatory, because that implies that you're also very, I guess, socially awkward, and you are far from it, Ryan. You are far from it. I mean, hey,
yes.
yeah, because you see, a nerd would not, for example, propose to tell, say, his daughter's prospective boyfriend, "Hey, man, tell me the dirtiest joke you know."
It's a
I mean,
it's an
that's
excellent qualifying question.
that's
If you can't make
that's
me
something that I
laugh,
can.
you're not going to make her laugh. I'm just going to tell you right now, compadre.
Yeah, if you can't
Can't make her laugh.
if you can't make her, yeah, you can't make her laugh, or if you can't horrify her a little, then you know what? You're a cold fish. You're a cold
That's true.
fish.
I
Right, Ryan.
yeah. Ray, as a man of Hawaii, you'll know that sometimes you just got to ride the pipeline to feel the rush. That's how I live my life. All right, let's see here. Oh, he asked me until he can get Iron Cutter. And Zach, I don't know if you heard. Hopefully, Zach listened to that discussion that we had with Castleberry a few weeks back, because I think him jumping on the Bermuda train like needs to happen. He's got some resources out there. All right, so he asked me if this
Seed blend.
10% blue, 90% Perennial rye blend is okay. Coming from United Seeds, it has what is that? 10% Arrowhead, Apple, Fastbar. Okay, so these are all the Mountain View varieties that are gray leaf spot resistant. Really good, some really good cultivars in there. So he's got a little bit of other crop. It's fine. Like I think this would be okay to overseed with. It's not, it's not 0 0. It's not zero weed. I can't see the weed tag. It looks like it's zero over there. But other crop, that could
0%.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, that could be, some poetriv, could be a lot of different things. Um, but take it for what it's worth. I think if you went out with this particular product at somewhere around like I don't know, 6 pounds, something like that per thousand, you'd be in pretty good shape. You could probably back that rate down a little bit if you wanted to, but somewhere in that seeding rate, I'd say you'll be fine. So we will talk. I promise we will talk. Um, Big milestone. We got the last of our fields sodded. So we've got 300 and some 20 some thousand square feet on the ground in the last 4 weeks. And that makes me breathe a little easier and feel a little bit better. But as Ray, I told this to somebody earlier this week that somebody asked one of our guys, "Hey, like the hardest part's over now, right?" And I thought his response was spot on. He's like, "Wow, the hardest part in that the physical part is done, but now it's just the mental anguish, soul crushing anxiety, and the hopes and dreams of one single community for every field, riding on every decision, for the next 8 to 15 weeks. But other than that, it's totally fine. No big deal. So yeah,
Yeah, no big deal. Yeah,
love
and
it.
what is it, Ryan? This, I guess, is a classic. Now it's time to fire up the deli slicer and put your personals right up to it.
God, I'll tell you what. For those that don't know, the cold steel of a Hobart on your scrotum, there's nothing like it. Okay, moving on here. Let's see. Midnight Monoculture says, any of you baseball fans ever noticed all the POA at Phillies Citizen Bank Park in the outfield on TV? Crazy they're not able to manage that, but it sure looks like POA. I haven't seen any games at Citizens Bank, despite the Phillies are doing pretty well this year. It probably is POA, and that's the fact of life, even at the highest levels. Like you're changing stuff out. I know in colder climates like Minnesota, they fight POA pretty bad and are resodding, every several years, and it's a pretty much a given in the professional ballpark world that if you don't have any major events, which most ballparks are now hosting at least one or two or three major events a year, you're likely resodding at least portions of the field, if not the entire field, multiple times a year. So Phillies, I know they've had some concerts there and stuff, I believe. Maybe nothing major, but don't let it bother you. It's not really going to affect playability so much, and just more of a pain in the ass to look at on television. So, let's see here. Looney says, I fertilized my lawn today, and now my KBG is stiff and stays upright. It's been more than 4 hours. Is this a concern? Only if you jerk off on your lawn, Looney. I think otherwise you're good. Good. It's probably somewhere that's happening too. So if listen, if there's some lady that's got a whole bunch of bees landing on her for sport, and she seems like a very nice lady too. I do want to get her on the show. Surely there is somebody out there on their lawn that's so in love with it that they feed the geese on it. And I'm not that person. I'll never be that person, but I'm sure there's some amongst us that do or have thought about it. And Looney, if you're one of them, I'll let you live. Johnny Fescue. Ooh, this is an interesting one here, Ray. Johnny Fescue wants to know.
Okay.
He has 419 sports turf. Mature goosegrass control. Is Sencor the best option? Rates and whatever happened to Aloxin? I think it's
Ooh.
still around.
Ooh.
Isn't it?
No, it's gone. Aloha. Goodbye, Iloxan. And one more
Mm.
thing. Iloxan was extremely restricted. Only labeled for use on golf courses, federal RUP, and this is one of the few products that I can remember right under the box that stated there was an RUP. It was due to it being a known carcinogen.
Well, but did it work as a
Yeah,
herbicide? That's my question.
kind of, sort of.
Jesus.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, there's a reason why Bayer didn't fight to keep it on the market because it wasn't all that excellent. But to answer Johnny Fescue's question, these days, if you have mature goosegrass on a 419 sports field, I would go nuclear option on that. Brian.
And do what?
That tank mix that we worked on in Hawaii that soon spread to the entire southeast.
Oh boy, yeah. So what would you expect? So first, talk about the mix, and then we'll talk about this specific situation of 419 and everything. I'll see if I can dig up some pictures real quick.
Okay, the current nuclear option, if you do have mature goosegrass in a 419 sports field or golf fairway, is Pilex plus Sencor.
Mm-hmm.
And your Pilex rate is a half an ounce per acre. Your Sencor rate is 4 ounces per acre. And this is very important. After application, suspend all irrigation for at least 3 to 5 days. No water.
See if I can
And
pull.
you want to pull up some pictures of Fred Yelverton or Jim Brosnan applying that mix? I take
Yeah,
it.
there's a good one. There's a good one here from VT where Eric Irvin took their work and they really just all they tried to do is like legit just fuck shit up with it and see what they could come up with. Hang on, let me send this video to J Pink, and J Pink, if you can fast forward to, let's go with about 251. And yeah, if you get that to 2 minutes and 51 seconds,
Give me one
you're good.
second to fix the audio here real quick.
Fixing audio, he says, from the robot mic. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Half.
What's that? Oh.
For the past few years at Virginia Tech, we've evaluated Pilex for goosegrass control in Bermuda grass. Although Pilex controls goosegrass at low rates, Bermuda grass is still subject to extreme toxicity. This plot here was treated with 0.1 fluid ounces per acre of Pilex, which is 1/15 of the maximum label rate in certain cool season turf grasses. And the Pilex label recommends applying 0.5 to 0.75 fluid ounces per acre in Bermuda grass. So you can tell, even at low rates, it's extremely sensitive to Pilex applications. It is important to note that Bermuda grass in the transition zone is more sensitive to HPPD inhibiting herbicides like Pilex than areas further south. Transition zone areas also have a painfully short growing season, and prolonged Bermuda grass stunning must be avoided. Thus, the label recommended rates for Pilex use in Bermuda grass are simply too high for transition zone turf. In order to improve Bermuda grass safety, we have sought to lower Pilex rates while including additional herbicides to maintain goosegrass control. So for our preliminary experiments, we centered around combinations of Turflon Ester Ultra with Pylex. This was due to previous observations by
Wow.
Dr. Askew on its effectiveness at preventing the bleaching symptoms on creeping bentgrass. We found that it was able to reduce Bermuda grass bleaching significantly, but the bleaching was just replaced with brown and stunted turf that persisted for far longer than injury by Pylex applied alone. We then evaluated Drive as a possible take mix partner with Pylex, and although it had some potential to reduce bleaching symptoms, it still had issues with increased duration of injury and sometimes actually antagonized goosegrass control. It was not until we evaluated Syncor as a tank mix partner that we began to reduce both severity and duration of Bermuda grass injury while still maintaining goosegrass control. After multiple iterations of different herbicide rate programs, we converged on Pylex applied at 0.15 fluid ounces per acre plus Syncor at 4 ounces per acre plus methylated cetyl adjuvant at 0.5% by volume. This program, when applied twice at a 3-week interval, controls goosegrass populations where their average growth stage is at or below 15 tillers. For populations that consist of much larger plants, we have seen more consistent control when Pylex rate is increased to 0.2 to 0.25 fluid ounces per acre. These increased Pylex rates will often double Bermuda grass injury levels though, and increase duration of injury by up to 25%. We view 0.25 fluid ounces per acre Pylex or higher as actual rescue treatments in Bermuda grass in the transition zone. Although higher rates of 0.25 to 0.75 fluid ounces per acre of Pylex may reduce the need for repeat applications, our 2-application program at 0.15 fluid ounces per acre with 4 ounces per acre of Syncor has yielded the best Bermuda grass quality in our studies. While seeking to broaden weed control spectrum using additional herbicides with our Pylex plus Syncor program, we have discovered potential mixtures that further safeten Bermuda grass during selective goosegrass control treatments. We have also evaluated Sprint 330 and Zinc Power since they were reported by other researchers to potentially improve Bermuda grass safety during Pylex treatments. In our studies so far, we have observed that Tribute Total at 3.2 fluid ounces per acre and Celsius at 3.6 fluid ounces per acre significantly reduces Bermuda grass injury when used in combination with Pylex plus Syncor. When the 2 fertility products are included with the programs, Zinc Power showed decreases in injury symptoms, but it is inconsistent from year to year. While Sprint 330 either had no impact or slightly reduced recovery time, Speed Zone was similar to Turflon in that it reduced bleaching but caused brown turf that persisted much longer than the Pylex plus Syncor. So what have we learned from all these studies, and what is our final conclusion? Our data suggests that Pylex at 0.15 fluid ounces per acre plus Syncor at 4 ounces per acre plus MSO yields the best combination of economics, Bermuda grass safety, and goosegrass control efficacy. Adding Celsius to Tribute Total can further improve Bermuda grass safety, but the economic value of this improvement depends on the given situation. In situations where either additional broadleaf control or grass control is needed, the value of Celsius and Tribute Total will be improved. Zinc Power also shows potential for reducing injury caused by Pylex programs. Our future Pylex Syncor studies will focus on utilizing different rate regimes of Tribute Total and Celsius to help further reduce chemical costs and Bermuda grass injury, while also continuing to evaluate Zinc Power to aid in injury reduction as well.
There you go. Old Brewer laying it down there for you. Ray, thoughts on that protocol? And it looks like Johnny Fescue said he was a tester of this protocol in the golf market. So any further thoughts based on your evaluation and use of this protocol?
No, nothing to add. Although it is true that if your goosegrass is, for example, turned perennial, like how it can be here in Hawaii, you do need that 0.5 ounce per acre rate of Pylex to kill it. And oftentimes, that application is a one and done. It's a burn, a return, and it's gone. It's done.
That'll happen. That will happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. So there you go, Johnny Fescue. If you want to get nasty with it, Alex Sencor. I knew you were gonna say that. Hey, what about real quick? Uh, the Ray Ito. I call it the Ray Ito Summer Slam. That's my name for it. The Revolver, Celsius, and Quicksilver regimen. Talk to us about
Right.
that, and what can you and can't you expect out of that?
Okay. Here's what you can expect out of that. This is where the SummerSlam shines, is cleanup of weeds that emerge after a seeding or a sprigging job 1 month out from the time of establishment. That's where it truly shines, because you see, Revolver has a limitation in that Revolver is not particularly effective on goosegrass that is more mature. And the person that confirmed this for me was none other than Jim Brosnan over at UT. Because I had some specimens of goosegrass that I turned over to Dr. Jim Brosnan, and I asked him, hey, I suspect that this goosegrass is revolver resistant. So what Jim did for me was he grew seeds from these goosegrass plants out in his lab so that he got baby goosegrass growing in the greenhouse. He treated those baby goosegrass with revolver, and those all perished.
Mm,
So, on the other hand, the goosegrass that had been there for months, if not years, laughed at revolver, and in order to clean up the site, I was forced to apply Pilex and Sencor to effect that cleanup.
jeez.
So, so then, yeah, this is where that Revolver, Celsius, and Quicksilver mix has its place, in that that is my ideal response to weeds that have come up in the course of reestablishing turf, or in a new turf situation. It is not my preferred application if I'm dealing with old weeds. Maybe I can use the Celsian Revolver to eliminate undesirable paspalums, broadleaf weeds, but then I can't necessarily count on it to remove goosegrass in that situation, Ryan.
Huh.
It's just not powerful enough. I mean, Revolver is fantastic due to its selectivity and its how tolerant the Bermuda grass is to it, but it just falls short when you're dealing with mature goosegrass.
Is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Gosh. All right.
yeah, yeah. And here, Cam over at Elevated Lawnscapes, yeah, he said he used that exact mix during his father's sprig growing,
Mm-hmm.
and it cleaned it up. Used it on his father's iron cutter Reno.
You're gonna have that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Well, that's what I'm saying too. Is for Johnny Fescue. I just want to put that out there as another option, right? That could be used in the event of more than just
But the key
goose out there, but mature goose.
but then, the key to that working is I would probably want to deploy that tank mix before the goosegrass gets mature. I want to say what, no more than 4 tiller, for
Yeah.
example. Get it out there early. Do it early.
I saw it work when. So you say that, but we had a field that 1 year got sprigged late. It was a resprig over winter kill. Pulled the trigger late on the resprig and had to wait, 4 weeks to let it get up and get going and everything like that. And sure enough, had fairly mature goosegrass. I mean, it was past 2-tiller for sure, and used that mix very effectively. Very effectively. So
I can see that
Yeah, I
happening,
can
Ryan. I can see that. But then you're talking about a different climate where goosegrass has to restart every single spring.
yes.
It doesn't
And
have
I
a
think
chance to become perennial.
no, let them live, I guess, right?
Different circumstances. Yep. For sure.
All right, let's see if we've got Spurgy. What's up, man? Let's see. Go Vols. John Cena SummerSlam. Weather is key, Brent says. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we've made it to the end of the questions. We've made it 56 or so minutes. I don't know what the time is, but it's about 10 o'clock, and we are going to wrap this up. I also want to say, give a huge shout out to our friends. Let's see here. We got Lushy Jr., Brent from Western Mass Turf, and John Petrucci, all past participants on the show. And they made it out to the UMass Field Day for some continuing education, some professional development. So, gentlemen, very much appreciate that you took time out of your busy schedules for real to go get some more education. Can't take it away from you, but you got to go get it. So I appreciate you guys taking the time, and I would encourage everybody, whether you're a do-it-yourselfer, if you are a pro or anywhere in between, find out when your state university is having their extension field day. Get out there. I know Kentucky's got one coming up. We have one coming up here in 2 weeks in Ohio. So get out there, register. If you have questions, hit us up in the Discord, or if you're curious on when and if you should attend, we'll see if we can help you out. Reach out to us, mail@thegrassfactor.tv. And if you want to reach out to us in a more intimate way, you can do that on the Discord. And the only way to access, protest, or sit there and argue in circles with all of your internet friends like we see every day happen on our Discords is through it's fucking true. It's so fucking true. God. It's yeah, so that to do that, that's www.patreon.com/burn and return. And for the low price of 0.76 gallons of diesel, you can subscribe to us for 1 month, or you can subscribe for other notable and fun features and things like that beyond the 3/4 or 0.76 gallons of diesel. So with that, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week. We will be back again here soon, and we love you all. Good night.
Bye.